Hey, Stanley.
Now we are recording.
We are recording on all
Okay.
fronts.
Mickey has brought a lot of new,
New
very
toys.
fancy, exotic equipment today, and so we are using new stuff, but we're doing the same type of recording.
Yeah, same old thing with a bunch more toys, and some of them didn't work quite the way I wanted them to.
Yeah,
So you'll notice I'm on a different microphone than Stanley is.
I like my new mic.
Yeah, right. It's a nice one.
It's set up on my. It's leaning on my desk, like me.
Yeah.
Anyway, it is almost winter time. In a couple of days, it will be officially winter. It feels like it already. That means Christmas is just a week away, almost a week,
Whew.
less than a week. And Hanukkah, as it turns out, is the very same day as Christmas this year, which like never happens. Hanukkah is almost always much earlier, but it's late this year. So
Why?
we are celebrating a lot.
Yeah, truly. Why is it late this year?
Who knows?
It just.
I'm sure there are explanations, but I don't have them. So we are thinking today to do something of a wrap up for the year. This is probably the last time that Mickey and I will be together on this
Yeah,
job,
in 2024.
and then maybe take a look into next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you start?
Okay. Um, this year has been wonderful for me. Um, I've been engaged since October of last year. So I had 2 months in 2023 where we were engaged, but we have been engaged all of this year and have really started the actual planning process of the wedding. So 2024 has been like a really exciting transitional year for me into what is going to be my life as a married man. This is my last year uh, not married. And so we've spent the whole time really just like planning. We ran the New York Marathon together. We have been planning our wedding. We have sort of been building and preparing this new life and what it's going to look like together. So it's been a really cool year for me that way. I also just got a new job.
Tell us about the job as much as you'd like to.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So up until this point, as anyone who has listened to this before knows, I'm an actor, I'm a life coach, and I'm a painter. Predominantly, those are the three things that I do the most. Um, and I have loved it. I've been been my own boss and had no real schedule, and have worked a very creative lifestyle, very creative gig based work style for the last 10 years. And it's been very fulfilling from a personal level. But there's no real like space for growth, when it comes to buying a home or having a family and all these other things. So I have, really enjoyed what I've been doing all this time, but I've been nervous about what it looks like, what the longevity of it is, what it looks like for my future with Sarah and for our potential future as a family with kids. And then out of the blue, and I really didn't think about doing anything about it. I was just like, this is stressful. But then out of the blue, a friend of mine reached out to me and said that he thinks that I would be great working at the company that he works at, and kind of pitched the job to me and whatnot, and said, if you're interested at all, this is basically like a straight to offer. So if you want it, you have the job. And it's a real job, like with a company, doing a real thing, working as a facilitator for events for one of their biggest clients, basically teaching people interpersonal skills. So it's really in line with life coaching. And so I decided, you know what, screw it. Worst case scenario, if I don't like it, I can leave and go back to what I've been doing. But if I do like it, then it's a really amazing step in this new direction toward life coaching, maybe public speaking and all these other opportunities that can come from it. It's also working, kind of in the corporate world a little bit, which I've never done. And, I was talking to the guy who offered me the job, and I asked him if I found this job on LinkedIn and I applied for it, would I even be remotely eligible for this job? And he was like, on paper, definitely not.
No.
Because I don't have a
sorry.
resume at all. So, it's kind of amazing. He knows me personally through work. And he thinks that I'm a good fit, but only because he's met me. But I would never get this job on paper. So I'm starting that in January. So 2025 is going to be a huge pivot, different style of life, an actual schedule, 5 days a week. And I won't stop doing the other things I do. Like, I'll still paint and I'll still act, but the acting will have to take a step back just a little bit while I do this job. I'll do voiceover and I'll do commercial, but I don't know if I'll be, I'm not going to be able to take 5 days off to shoot a film and then come back. Like, if this is a full-time job, so I'm really going to have to do the job. So it's going to be different that way. But I think it's going to give me a lot of just some structure that I think I really need, that I haven't had in my whole life. So I'm excited. That's my big thing coming up in the new year.
And it will involve commuting to New Jersey, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, right?
Yeah, either New Jersey, Santa Monica, or Atlanta, Georgia, kind of on repeat.
Oh,
So they'll fly me out to those places when I need to go there, and
Okay.
and I'll mostly be in Mahwah, New Jersey.
and is that near us, near Manhattan?
Yeah, it's like an hour, maybe like 40 minutes from where I live,
Okay.
up in Harlem.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Good.
it's kind of perfect. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this change, How about you? What's this year been for you?
This year has been interesting. I'm obviously a year older. Now the calendar says 92,
Mhm.
amazingly. I lost a dear lady friend this year. We were talking about it. She died of pancreatic cancer, that awful, awful disease, which your grandmother apparently is also
Yeah.
dealing with. People get that and rarely survive very long. My friend did survive for a year, and she was tough. She lived in, in Santa Barbara, California. Her husband had predeceased her. These are very old friends and very good friends. And I would, I would talk to her on the phone. Hadn't seen her in a few years. We would talk on the phone. She sounded absolutely great. And then suddenly she was not. And she moved to an assisted living, taken care of by one of her sons on the outskirts of Santa Barbara. I saw photos of it. It's beautiful. But she died 2 or 3 days later. And that's something that has been an important part of my year. The good stuff, I've been managing to avoid COVID, glad to say. That's one of the virtues of not going out very much. You don't expose yourself to very much. I managed to do a couple of lovely cultural things. I got twice this year to Carnegie Hall, once for the Vienna Philharmonic, and recently, I don't think Mickey and I talked about this, I was invited to go to a recital of the Vienna Boys Choir at Carnegie.
Cool.
That was a real treat.
That's really cool.
That choir has been in existence for years. Boys from a lot of different countries go together. I think there are several different groups. This group was under the direction of the same man, and they travel around some. We had it was a wonderful afternoon, and I saw a little of theater. Next year, 2 big things are looming in the cultural world. One, there will be a production from England of Streetcar Named Desire
Cool.
with, can't remember the fellow's name, very popular actor now. It'll come to me later. We'll be doing the role of Stanley, and that's going to be in Brooklyn.
Cool.
It happens that I am friendly with the lady at Brooklyn, in Brooklyn at BAM. BAM is the Brooklyn Academy of Arts. Big old institution, obviously in Brooklyn. I'm friendly with the lady who is the chairman of the board of that outfit, and she has very kindly given me as a birthday gift a couple of tickets to Streetcar. So I will go with a friend. And also around that same time, there is coming a production. There is building a production here of Othello, Shakespeare's Othello.
Cool.
With Denzel Washington doing the title role and Jake Gyllenhaal doing the great villain Iago.
Whoa.
So those are something very much for me to look forward to. You know, I get sustained, Mickey, a lot by the people that I know. I depend a huge amount on company. I don't get out that much, but I am blessed with people who come here. It's 3 or 4 friends who are really reliable, who I see maybe not quite every week, maybe every couple weeks. Often we go out and have lunch. If the weather is nice, we sometimes go over to Central Park. I get pushed in my baby wheelchair, so I don't have to walk. It's great. This is really what does sustain me, and I depend on it. I'm very blessed to have these guys. I have a niece and her husband who live in Brooklyn. I see them. They sometimes come for dinner. They bring dinner here. That's great. Don't see them that often. But all of this adds up. And, you know, I was with one of these friends this week, and I talked about this. I said, you know, I don't get out very much. And I miss some of that. I miss the chance just to be out walking on my own. I don't go out by myself. I have stopped doing that. I'm too fragile looking. I don't want to invite people to come and hit me on the head. And it might not happen. Even the odds might be against that happening, but I don't want to take the chance. So I opt to go out only with someone else, occasionally with the walker, often with the wheelchair if someone is willing to do it. And Zach, my friend, said, well, you know, the thing about you, meaning me, is you don't go out into the world that much, but the world comes to you. And there's truth in that. Beyond the friends, because I am alone a fair amount, I turn on the internet on the computer, and I get a lot of beautiful music. It's all free. It's considerable. I can tune in all kinds of different outlets and listen and listen and listen. There's a lot of dance that you can get there on the screen. Sure. And this is something else that I find sustaining.
Wow.
So that's kind of the recap of me.
That's powerful though, Stanley. I think that I like that idea that the world comes to you.
Well, of course, so do I. Sure.
Yeah. No, but
Sure.
it's true. Do you find that when you say that it sustains you, these friends, do you find that it's become more and more apparent to you as you've gotten older how much like medicine friendship is?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Friendship is indispensable for me.
Mm.
And I don't know really anyone else my age who depends on friends to the degree that I do.
Mm.
One friend who is an old college friend, I've spoken about him. He is in a very fine assisted living place, but he really depends on the place. He does not depend on friends. What friends he ever had, he has no more.
Mm.
So that, yeah, they are my lifeline. Sure.
Wow.
Yeah. And I read a fair amount. That also helps, of course. I'm part of a gay men's book group that has been going on for years now. We meet every month on Zoom, but I'm always there. Yeah, occasionally even leading the group. It's great, sure. It's a social outlet for me. One of the people in that group, believe it or not, just went through a lung transplant at New York Presbyterian.
Wow.
And he's a man of my, well, not quite my age, but almost. And do you know he is already home? He has survived that.
Wow.
It was a tough thing to go through because they would obviously wait until they found a match for him. He was in need of this help, this transplant, for some time. And they would call him and they would say, David, come down and we'll check you out to see whether this person is a match for you. And again, it would be a false alarm. The person that they had in mind would not be a match. Finally, they called him and they said, come down, and they did find a match. And they said, good, tomorrow morning we're going to do it.
Mm.
And tomorrow morning they did it. Yeah.
Wow.
And I saw him. He's already back in the book group. Amazing.
Like it never happened. Have you spoken to him about it? How does it feel?
Well, I said,
again?
what do you know that's different? He said, I breathe much easier.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I thought, there is a real success story.
Yeah.
Wonderful. He's a wonderful guy. He has a wide range of interests. He's very musical, plays the piano, goes to musical stuff all the time. It's wonderful when you know that medicine can work so well.
Yeah. That's so.
And it seems to be, yeah.
That's beautiful. How old is he?
I don't know exactly. Pushing toward my age.
Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I guess at that point every day is just like after a surgery like that, every day is a blessing kind of thing, you know.
Oh, you bet. You bet.
When you're
And speaking of that, I'm no longer a religious person. I went to the synagogue for years and years, and then I drew away from it. But I am certainly, I'd like to think, a spiritual person who says prayers twice a day, morning and night, to begin the day, to end the day, and they are always prayers of gratitude. Always. grateful to be alive, grateful to have this day that starts, or to have had this day that's now ending. Grateful to live in a free country. We've talked about that a lot lately. We last time we spoke on the recording,
Yeah.
we talked about the election here. Not an election that pleased everybody, including me. But all the same, it was free. You know, we live in a free country. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. You look around the world and you see how rare that is now. The democracy is still holding. And I say a prayer of gratitude for that, of gratitude for this space that I have, where I can be by myself and be content, can be reasonably safe, you know. Yeah. I think that if you're not religious, having some kind of spirituality is a huge help. What do you think?
I completely agree. I was talking to my cousin yesterday, I think yesterday morning, actually. You know, because I have spent years and years, I grew up Roman Catholic, and then I spent years staunchly atheist.
Yeah.
And really searching, like, just to find the truth or find knowledge or, you know, learn about this, about whatever. And I was talking to my cousin who kind of had a similar journey as I have, and he's sort of come round again and is back to Catholicism. I'm not quite there, but I was telling him, you know, I spent all of my 20s sort of prioritizing knowledge and truth over happiness. I'd prefer to know the truth, or, you know, then be happy. And now I have started this journey where I'm less interested in the truth and more interested in enjoying the ignorance of, you know, this massive, miraculous something that happened that caused us to be here. And I'm not quite as interested as I used to be of getting to the bottom of it or like figuring it out. I'd rather sit with a hot coffee on a park bench and watch people go by and just enjoy how incredible it is to be here at all, you know? And I don't know, would I call that religious or spiritual? I don't know. But it has been an interesting shift to notice in myself that being happier is way better than being right.
Do you also share my feeling of gratitude?
Oh, yeah, enormously. I feel so grateful, I mean, every day for the fact that I have the people in my life that I have and the love that I get to share. And, you know, by the same token, I'm still very, you know, I'm working toward achieving something in my future and in my life and whatever. So I'm very motivated to, like, do things that I feel I've yet to accomplish or whatever. So I don't feel the gratitude, like, all the time because I'm so focused on, like, where I'm trying to go or where I'm trying to get to, what level I'm trying to be at, whatever. But yeah, I mean, if I boil it all down and sit down with a little bit of stillness, my life is incredible. The fact that I have one at all is incredible. And, you know, I know people, you know, personally in my life who have very different circumstances than I do, who are very, very sick or very, you know, and it's just it's a crapshoot. You know, you never know what could happen in your life, and tomorrow everything could fall apart and the world could end, but that's why today is so great. You know,
I have a younger friend. He's in his late 50s, He actually is the son of an old college friend.
Mm.
He lives with a wife and kids in Austin. And we have become friends largely through letters and emails. My college friend died, and now I've taken up a certain friendship with his son. His name is Matt. And Matt came to New York about 10 days ago on a business trip, and he had a heart attack. Fortunately, he was here. He went immediately to NYU Langone. He had something that he actually inherited from his father, my college friend. It was an aortic dissection. The aorta, I believe, bursts, and you need to have it addressed immediately, or it kills you.
Yeah.
Luckily, he wrote me, he said, if I had to be anywhere, I was lucky to be where I was, because normally he would not be here. He had come on a business trip.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be here.
Wow.
Saved his life. In Hebrew, there's something called basheret. Basheret is you're in the right place at the right time.
Hmm.
And that's not doing it justice to
Yeah.
translate it that way, but basically that's it. Like you have met Sarah, that is basheret. That you found the right person to form a couple with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lovely old Hebrew
That's
idea.
cool. My dad's one of his best friends also had a heart attack while he was in New York City. Maybe the doctor said he probably had 8 minutes to live. He was in the subway, I think on going up the stairs out of the subway, and he had a heart attack, and he had about 8 minutes, and he happened to be 4 minutes from the hospital. And they saved his life. But, again, it's just such a miraculous accident that something like that happens when you
in
are...
the case of my friend and that family, Earl, my college friend, had this exact same thing, but he had it when he was 80 years old. His son is having it in his late 50s.
That's
And
scary.
And Matt knew the chance there was the chance that this would happen to him, but it came sooner than likely. So, count our blessings.
Truly.
Yeah.
What do you have going into the next year? What do you have anything on your bucket list?
My bucket list is to stay exactly where I am, to feel exactly as well as I do, to have the head still working, to have the friends, to have you to be part of my life, a very happy, loving part of my life. That's my hope, yeah. And to have the government behave.
You should send him a letter. Do it for me. Do it for Stanley. That's cool. I'm excited for what this next year is going to bring.
Well, you have a wonderful year to look forward to.
Yeah,
Sure.
getting married next year, and I think I'm excited for my 30s. I feel like 30s is the decade.
It's a great decade. It's a great decade. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I feel like everyone in their 30s finally figured some of the stuff out, like that they didn't know in their 20s, and then you kind of get to really start doing.
Because by 30, you shed some of the feathers, and
yeah,
and you're flying. Yeah, I felt that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Well, listen, we're getting to the end of this recording. I have to wish you the every good thing for 2025.
Thank you. I
And
wish you every
I
good thing.
love sharing these moments with you. I really, really do. Even if we don't meet all that often, we meet often enough that there's a happy thread
Yeah.
that works. That
And we have
continues.
documentation of every single one, you know?
That's true. We do.
Every conversation we've had has been filmed and recorded,
That's for sure.
which is kind of cool,
Yeah.
you know?
We'll leave it to the Smithsonian.
Exactly. In 1,000 years, people will say, I don't know a whole lot about this Stanley Eli guy, but I knew that I know that he was friends with that Mickey Roberts guy. That's all I know. And he wrote some books. We have a couple of those as well in the Smithsonian. Stanley, happy 2024. Cheers to the end of a good year and the start of a good new one.
Thank you. And I wish you the very same. Bye, everybody.
Till
Happy
next
New
time.
Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.